So obviously we've all tried to go for some taller players at positions like, wide receiver, tight end, corner, safety, maybe linebacker, positions like that, but never really tried to do that for every single position. Sometimes I'm like, hey, a sick big tackle is cool. I don't know if it actually is beneficial in the game, though. Having a 6'8" guy, you would think a finesse guy would just roll that every single time, but that's what we're going to test today, is we're going to see if the team made of the tallest players in the league would win the Super Bowl. Now, the stipulations were literally the tallest players would be the starters, and it would go by overall. I didn't go individually. Like, oh, Justin Herbert is 6'6" and 2/8. Lawrence is 6'6" and 3/9. I don't, whatever. I didn't do that. Whatever their listing was, the highest overall of that height. And you had to be an active player. You had to be on an active roster. I wasn't looking through the practice squads. I wasn't looking at guys that, maybe retired a year or two ago and Madden forgot to, EA forgot to remove them. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to bring Kevin King on because he's 6'3" and he's a free agent. You had to be on an active roster. Even if you're a 52 overall, you would make this list. And of course, we kind of spoiled it a little bit, the kickers and punters. Thankfully, they are not real people. Obviously, the quarterbacks, Herbert and Lawrence, with the running backs being Derrick Henry, Cordero Patterson, and Najee Harris. Of course, a bunch of 6'2" running backs, but not 6'3". Fullback, Patrick Ricard, a bunch of 6'3" fullbacks as well, but he was the highest overall. Wide receivers, Colin Johnson, a 6'6" wide receiver. Mike Evans at 6'5", Lazard at 6'5", Cam Sims at 6'5", Equinemius St. Brown at 6'5". Then we dropped into the 6'4s, which is Mike Williams at 6, and then T. Higgins at 7. Those guys probably won't see a single snap. Tight end, once again, another guy that is already on the roster but injured, Donald Parham, 6'8", the Mutt God. Zach Gentry at 6'8", and then Jelani Woods at 6'7". Left tackle, a bunch of 6'8ers. But only one of them will start. Kind of spoiled some of the other players here, but we're going to quickly go through. It's only linemen anyways. Andres Pete, 6'7" left guard. Mitch Moore, 6'6" center. McKeithen, I don't even know who this is, to be honest. He's a rookie, 6'7". And then Caleb Jones, who was recently reactivated from the practice squad by Green Bay, which I feel like has happened a few times now, where he's practice squad active, is 6'9". And he will be the starter. Obviously, Gregory Rousseau at 6'7", with Aiden Hutchinson at 6'7" as well. Right end, obviously, Calais Campbell, the big man himself, the guy with the Giants voice, 6'8". Brent Urban at 6'7". DTs, DeForest Buckner at DT, and Eric Armstead at 6'7", both former teammates, reunited here once again. Carl Nassib, the Buccaneers with a bunch of tall left outside linebackers at 6'7" apiece. Inside linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds at 6'5", Devondre Campbell at 6'4", who once again, I really didn't think he was even that tall, and then Leighton Vander Esch at 6'4". Right outs are a little bit shorter at 6'5" compared to left out, but you got two 6'5" guys there. Cornerback, you obviously knew Tariq Woolen was going to be the starter, with Sauce Gardner at number 2. St. Just at 6'3" as well as Jojuan Williams and Joshua Williams. Free safety, Ifeatu Melifonwu with Tariq Carpenter as the backup. Strong safety, Isaiah Simmons is listed at strong safety with Jaron Kearse at backup and Kyle Hamilton backing him up. And then we've already been over the kickers and punters. So I went with the Chargers, and, there were a lot of players that I actually didn't have to change because last year at least, they were listed as the tallest team, and I couldn't find any other information on, because nobody really cares about that kind of thing, the average height of a team. So I went off of that, and, considering, like I said, they already had a bunch of guys that were already on the roster, I would assume they're very close to the tallest still, but obviously the base team doesn't really matter. If there's any video idea you would like to see, the shortest team, the slowest team, whatever, let me know in the comment section below. I do want to, hopefully we make the playoffs, I want to actually see what the team looks like in, play, see if they in general look better or taller than the other team. Not a whole lot of difference in height, but, there's probably going to be a couple of positions where it's like, on average, we're like 2 to 3 inches high, bigger, and typically the bigger you are, the heavier you probably are, so be interesting to see that. All right, it looks good. I think it's a playoff season. It is. Who's the last hurrah? Probably Calais Campbell, right? I mean, I want to see this team win a damn Super Bowl, right? So why the hell would I not try to get our best opportunity here with, some morale? And let's take a look at the season. Obviously, we want to see the other teams as well because, we took some players off of teams. There were some pretty good players that were, the tallest in the league, if you will. The kicker from the Raiders, the tackle Mailata from the Eagles. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Probably not. Mike Evans from the Buccaneers. We probably took some other player like the Giants. I'm sure Colin Johnson, that 70 overall wide receiver who was buried on the roster, was huge. They still did well without him. Very impressive. Havenstein from the Rams, a bunch of different teams, Rousseau and Edmonds from the Bills, bunch of different starters from a bunch of different teams. Let's take a look at how the team played. I kept the playbook the same as the Chargers are pretty decent in Sim. 5,100 yards, 38 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, with Derrick Henry, a true kind of, traditional running back, absolutely leading the way there. Colin Johnson, though, 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns. Seems like it really doesn't matter what your ratings are in the game as long as you are the first player on the list. I mean, this guy should never get that many yards. Maybe comes up with a couple of clutch catches or something because he's a bigger guy, but that is absurd. Donald Parham with some decent numbers in fairness. Blocking, not great. Caleb Jones, considering his overall, though, not terrible, right? Like 64 overall. I mean, he's got 56. Like we talked about the finesse guy just slipping under. He's literally that. Like he's the definition of it. 114 tackles for Edmonds. Tackles really weren't that crazy. Sack totals were even worse. We put everyone in the right positions, but obviously, Greg Rousseau. I mean, he's a bigger guy, I suppose, so it's not the worst 3-4 end, if you will. Interceptions, 4 for Tremaine, 4 for Sauce, 3 for Devondre. Some pretty tame numbers there. Actually, because they're a bigger team, I kind of want to see if they force more fumbles than average. Not really. Not really. Daniel Carlson, pretty good. Missed 4 out of 28. That's not bad. And then J.K. Scott, who was already here, 50.5. Cordero Patterson, kick return touchdown. Colin Johnson, but outside of that, probably not an award win. Tom Brady still wins MVP. And Derrick Henry and Colin Johnson win awards. Like I said, I do want to see the, kind of average heights. First, many can go suck it. I really don't care. The average height against our opponent here, who, once again, we took players off of as well. Buckner. Come out on defense first. They do kind of look bigger. And you got to remember, the D-line in general probably should look smaller than the offensive line because, you got maybe two, 250-pound guys going against their offensive line. But they do look bigger. And I will say it's kind of tough on the wide receiver part because the Colts actually do have some pretty big wide receivers. But, I mean, this is some size. And like I said, in general, the Colts are actually a pretty big team. Like, their offensive line is huge. Their receivers are pretty big. Matt Ryan's no slouch. Jonathan Taylor's not a short guy. I mean, this is a pretty big squad. Obviously, that is a really good throw and a good knockout. You can say we cheated, but I don't really care. I didn't really do anything personally. I just want to see the offense now, and that's all I wanted to see. Oh, wow. Parham looks huge. The offensive line, looks pretty big, I suppose. The running back, obviously, Derrick Henry, the number looks awful there, but pretty big guys here. The numbers are just terrible. Oh, I will say, though, it is not a very fast offense. Wow, that was a slow start for those receivers, but let's take a look at who wins in Sim. 14-0 already. Pretty good start. 21-0. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the Colts. Not even just because of that comeback that they blew. It's just the Colts in general. Once again, Colts fans probably were they probably loved that they lost that game. It's like, oh, now you're going to blame us for being bad? Look, we can't even win a game. We're up 33-0, It's like, I think it's easier to just be a complete laughingstock than it is to, be kind of in the middle of some, it's like, wow. The incompletions from Herbert, but overall the yards, touchdowns, the touchdowns specifically were great. Derrick Henry killed it. Everett is on their team, so obviously we had to make a trade. And there's that. There's a really high-scoring game, despite the fact that Herbert seemed to play kind of badly. Got ourselves a close one at halftime against the Bengals, who are also an 87 overall. Actually, I didn't even look at our overall. Might be higher than that by now, but team's looking pretty primed here to head to the championship round. And once again, this isn't the best team we've ever seen in one of these types of videos. It's actually a pretty, kind of average roster. I wouldn't say 87's an average roster, I guess, to be fair, but it's not the highest overall roster. Some of these teams we've done, it's like the 90-plus overall. It's like, oh, well, they definitely should win, right? Also, how come on these freaking last hurrahs, it seems like they're rallying around like a dead guy. It's like a dead man walking. Dead man walking. It's like, we're all rallying around him, man. We really want to win it for him. It's like, he's retiring. Relax. Like, I get it, but like at the same time, like, he's not dying, okay? Patriots really giving us a run for our money. I was about to say, some of the teams we face here is like a Tom Brady level Super Bowl run, but yeah, the Patriots just handed it to this team. Although, I mean, it's a sliver. Chances are over. Apparently, the Patriots are good in sim when you don't add anything to their team. Who do we like? We got Jojuan Williams off them. I don't think there was any. Oh, yeah, Trent Brown. Maybe we actually gave them someone decent. Let's see. Kareem Hunt apparently is on their team. Receivers, everyone's the same. They have Slater, but I mean that's like a 1-to-1. We of course I released Slater, so they must have been the first team to pick him up. Yeah. If there was any more proof that you needed that this game is pretty bad at sim, there you have it. And it's not even just that the Patriots aren't good in real life. It's that their team is really not great in the game, like, at all. Like, it's so bad. One last hurrah. Let's see what he says. Man, I might not even die anymore. I might just stay alive. Of course, Calais Campbell, being as old as he is in the game, pretty much always retires after the year 1 season. But let's, I guess, see who wins the Super Bowl. I think it was the Eagles versus the Patriots. A little rematch there. The Eagles should win, right? They're definitely a better team in game by a lot. And watch it's the Patriots anyways. It is not. But that is pretty much going to be it for the tallest team. They could not win the Super Bowl, but they sure as hell got close. They definitely got close. Of course, the team changed a bit in the lineup right at the end of the season because of the dev ups and overalls changes and all that. But you've seen a dev up from Johnson, maybe Evans. I think Evans is already an X factor though. Tight ends didn't change. Edmonds went up in dev. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. It was pretty interesting, actually. It got a lot closer than I would have thought there for a moment. But like I said, if you have any ideas, want to see the smallest team, see if they can win it, whatever, let me know in the comment section below. Look at that cap. Holy, oh my, not good. Of course, should be a Vikings episode a little bit later today, and then Seahawks franchise tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel, Jeromepkr Plays, and that be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for the next video, but until next video,